Good day, guys. Moving on with Asem Chapter 8. Okay. Last, they were driving down in the buggy of a friend of Barry's dad, Stef Jonker. In Chapter 8, they finally arrive at Paul Barnard's home. He looks at his dad, thinking he doesn't look like much like Barry's remembers. Maybe because he's seen him in such a long time, and maybe because he's got a preconceived idea of his dad. Basically based on memories years ago and maybe one photo. Um, he's got interesting additions like tattoos and a much calmer demeanor for now that he can remember. All the luggage goes to Boris's room. Paul explains to him his dad. Paul explains to him there's no electricity, variety of forms of renewable energy like sun and batteries, and a bit of electricity from a generator that only runs a few times per day. So nothing is working currently to full capacity. Okay, that's just his dad's life down there. Okay, he bought everything himself. His dad. Um, that's it. He doesn't expect him to have power for a couple of days. The reason why his dad didn't fetch him is his pickup broke down, and because of the broken down car, he didn't go and buy petrol for the generator. So Buddies is already frustrated without a cell phone, even though he was promised a cell phone when he arrives there. There's no electricity to charge it or anything. Even Paul's phone is dead. Stef Jonker is not interested in sharing his phone. He says he's got no signal. Okay. Going on, Buddies probably because of a combination of things, he's stressed out. He is going through withdrawal symptoms. He doesn't have access at the moment to smoke anything or to drink anything, so his stomach is really not well. Unfortunately, the only toilet is basically a pit toilet outside without a door with a view on the ocean. Um, um, he also had a pie earlier. Maybe that is part of why his stomach is upset. He just makes it to the toilet, and he makes several trips to the toilet that day. He's not feeling too good, okay? Um, Paul gives him like a home concoction to replenish his electrolytes later that day. He goes for a nap, and he wakes up to Paul being in his room. He asks for his phone, um, or anything form of communication. Paul tells him, still nothing, okay? He looks around in the house and the room is in, and he notes a lot of artwork. His dad actually makes the artwork himself. And he looks closer to the work of a partially nude woman in a sarong. He knows it to be Olga, so that is the girlfriend of Steph. Okay. Um, because he saw the same sarong at the bottom of the buggy. Okay. There's another one of another artwork of Olga lying on the back with her head tilted back. Paris takes a shot at his dad, saying, "Well, how does a man feel allow you to paint his girl like that?" Paul says um, he should be ashamed of the age gap between them and Olga. He says, well, Steph allowed him to do these nude artwork. He was there the whole time as well. Um, he doesn't fall in these traps. Like you'll see that in these chapters at the start, um, Boris is always trying to bait his dad into saying or doing something, baiting him to be aggressive, baiting him and saying stuff like, "Yeah, you left us and you were never around." Obviously, because of the frustration and hatred and disappointment and resentment and everything he has towards his dad. Right. Um, Stefan Olga lives close by on the other side of the hill. He actually notes a calendar and for the first time realizes the actual date. It's something like the 2nd of December, but also on this calendar, a lot of the previous dates are crossed out. Paul mentions it's a list or calendar of days that he's been without alcohol. Okay, 2 years ago to be exact. Barry's again eager to bait or provoke his dad, asks him if remembering how his dad used to hide a bottle of brandy. inside, like cut a hole in the mattress, and Paul, his dad, used to hide it in there. He actually does, almost like a type of challenge, telling himself, even though there is alcohol there, he won't drink it. Okay. Um, he even sees his own birthday on November 26th, not understanding. Um, his dad knew about this. It's not like his dad forgot. So again, he's now putting pressure on his dad about the abuse, that how his dad hit him, and the leaving, and the interdict against him. Um, Even though there was an interdict, it wasn't interdict basically a document you get from a court that tells someone to stay, to keep the distance from you because of something like abuse. Okay, even though there was an interdict, there was no ever real interdict against him being part of him and his mom's life. So why? Um, Barry punches his dad on the shoulder, trying to provoke a violent reaction from him, maybe trying to prove a point that Paul will always just be like that. Paul ignores him, and he also doesn't give the answer that Barry wants. Why did he leave? Why all the abuse? Paul merely stays calm and says, when the time is right and we are alone, we'll talk about it. And like I've said before, this truth will come out. The whole story will come out later. It's quite a shocking one as well. That's it for chapter 8. We'll go to chapter 9 and 10 in the next video. Quickly translate and explain the questions for you. Like I said, chapter 8. Vraag 1, soos altyd, is werk on jou spinnekop diagram. Work on your mind map. Add the new information and characters. For example, now you can add something more about Barry's dad and their relationship between them. Vraag 2. Verduidelik wat Stef binne die verhaalkonteks bedoel met die woorde. Jou pa en ma betaal hul gatte af in skortgevoelens. Skryf 'n uitgebreide paragraaf hieroor. Explain what Stef means as in context as let me just restart. Explain what Stef means in the context of the story with the following words. Your mom and dad are paying their butts off to guilty feelings. You need to write a paragraph about this. The guilty feelings that Barry's mom and dad are paying for. Okay. The paragraph, anything you can think of that relates to the guilty feelings his mom and dad has. Him included, he's part of this whole story. Okay. Vraag 3. In hierdie hoofstuk neem Barry se uitdagende en ongeskikte houding teenoor Paul, sodat Paul homself moet bedwing. Hoekom dink jy neem Barry se die houding in? Skryf 'n halwe bladsy waaroor jy jou mening oor Barry se houding gee. Guys, in this chapter, Barry takes a very challenging and rude attitude towards his dad. Paul must stay calm. His dad must stay calm this whole time. Why do you think Barry's doing this? Write more or less a half page about your meaning about this. Guys, this is about Barry's being angry at his dad, in short, to help you with this answer, and how he's trying to bait his dad in doing, just kind of proving that's the person you are, being abusive, drinking, etc. Remember, he's there at this moment, he's there not because it's rehab or to be a better person. He's there to get revenge on his dad. That from page 1, from the first sentence of the book, is what he's always said. Lastly, as always, just for discussion, explain in short the dynamica of Barry's and his relationship with his dad. There you can mention resentment especially. Okay, hy is baie kwaad vir sy pa, né? That's it for question 8. The chapter summary quickly. Remember to use your guide as well. It's very thorough. And answer your questions. You also have access to the memos. Thank you guys and goodbye.